Well, anyway, I don't know who watches these videos, but I'm just going to do something real quick. Um, it just goes to say this, that the music that we listen to, the videos that we watch hold a very powerful, they hold a very powerful place um, in our lives, and there's one thing about music. One thing, well, let me just say this about if you're into horror flicks, Pet Cemetery. I those that know me know that I grew up in a Christian home. I didn't have I had a I had a I had a mom, a dad, both were protective. I really didn't watch much horror flicks, or didn't really go into like secular music that much, So I would say this, that I was pretty guarded about, with regards to the things that I was exposed to. And it's crazy how there are some other people that they were watching movies like the kind of movies that would give you nightmares at 6. I'm like, wow. I mean, I could look at my dad and say, he would have never allowed me to watch a movie that would put nightmares in me. Poor dad. I came from a family that believed in the power of prayer, believed in the power of God, believed in the power of healing. And watching this movie tonight really brought back memories from what I went through about 10 years ago this coming July. And that experience at that time, I had never had anything up until that time that was that strong, that dark. I mean, let me just say it this way. Up until that time, it seemed like I was bumbling through life. And nothing really rocked my world. 2009 was the year that my dad would pass away. A few months after that this whole experience happened. It was like, picture in your mind, like, for example, getting hit with an A-bomb, and then whatever's left of you, getting your legs and your arms torn off. Kind of like what that was, in a graphic way, but yeah. That's like kind of what that was at that time for me. And it's those experiences that we have, that you have collectively, that you take with you each year, that when you look at certain movies, and it's like, whoa, what happened there? And oh, and there's different things that you internalize. You don't forget those events that happened that over 3 days. And somewhere, I'm sure I probably still have the notebook, and it was like, and I think that I even wrote it down somewhere, some of the events that happened over a 3-day period of time that were very dark, very, but at the end of the day, I'm not here to glorify the darkness. I'm not here to make light of, or to but a lot of times it's like, what you have to do is you say, you know what? God is bigger than all of that. Bigger than all of the darkness, bigger than all the filth that is out there. And see, a lot of times if you're always magnifying the stuff that is dark, gloomy, depressing, and fearful, and just terrorizing, guess what? You're not magnifying the light. Because when you bring something into the light, guess what? All that darkness starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller as the light gets shined. Imagine in a dark room, right? Yeah, see, I can't turn the flashlight on. But when you turn the flashlight on, things get brighter, things get lighter. You don't have as much darkness. But when you turn the light out, the darkness crowds around you. But anyway, that's that. And over a 3-day period of time, it was strong. There was so much on the inside of me that was rebelling against what was really happening in that moment, in those moments. And it was like, it's like something on the inside of you warring against what you know is right, going for something that you know is good, that's going to get you to the promised land. But then you've got this other force, this other world that is trying to bring you down, trying to tear you down. And it's obviously what the world, it's the kingdom of, and it comes down to this. It's two kingdoms. There's the kingdom of light and there's the kingdom of darkness. So I know this is deep. I'm going somewhere. Say if this ain't your cup of tea, have a nice day. It is what it is, right? But the kingdom of darkness is not to be joked around with, or for whatever reason or another. Just like the kingdom of light. Kingdom of light is more powerful, I believe. When God said in His Word, that you're going to tread on scorpions and rulers of the dark side. I mean, there are so many different kingdoms out there that we, who are called of God, who are a child of God, need to operate and need to have dominion over, instead of those forces and those kingdoms having reign and rule over your life. Because whoever is master over you, guess what? Owns you. That's powerful, isn't it? If you got something that's a master over you, guess what? They own you. They're not. You're not. You are serving them instead of. Well, yeah, but you don't understand. I got this little thing over here. Okay, you can have your little thing, but that's what owns you. That's what has become your master. And whoever becomes your master, guess what? You will do whatever it takes to have whatever it is. Whether it's a drug, whether it's a pretty girl, whether it's money, a lot of different things. People slave at a job for 50 plus years and have nothing to show for it when they try to get to retirement age. Because they allowed that job, because they allowed that paper to get in the way of, hey, you could be somewhere. You could be somebody that, hey, you want to be set free and not have to worry another day about having money in your pocket. And not be concerned about, well, I'm going to be... And when you are secure and you are set You no longer have to look at things through a lens of, what am I going to do? You know, trust God, believe God. I believe this. You know, God is no respecter of persons. You know, it's not about, hey, I don't know, man. I haven't been to church in 3 or 4 weeks. You know, I'm going to be honest in saying that it's been 3 weeks. I haven't gone to church once this year so far. It isn't that I purposely decided not to when I started the day. Either I get up too late or, you know, or just having car problems. Mostly just car problems. I'm like not wanting to do that, you know. But hey, man, I'm not trying to make excuses. It is what it is, you know. But God, here's the thing. God don't respect the person that Joe Churchgoer more than the person that hasn't gone to church in 3 weeks. It's not a works project. See, that's the one thing that people don't understand. A lot of times they think, well, I'm a good Christian. I'm a good this. Put another check in the box. It's not about the boxes that you're trying to check. Because if it was about the boxes that you're trying to check, guess what? It would then be called a works project. And this is not a works project, by the way. It's a grace project. You know, I never heard it said like that before. But when it's a grace project, guess what? It's not something that you can earn. It's not something that you can say, well, I have these 5 things I got to do, and then I get this thing from God. See, then what you're looking at him, you now view him as a roulette wheel or lottery or bingo, and it's like, oh, my number's called, yay, you know. Okay. That's what it really comes down to. I think sometimes people are so dialed into that. They think, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so's doing this, so-and-so's doing that, yada, yada, yada. Okay, fine and good. You know, it's not about trying to keep up with the Kardashians, keep up with the Joneses or whoever. Excuse me. I think a lot of people get so caught up with trying to do something and trying to maintain a certain lifestyle, a certain quality of life, and this and that and the other. And that's fine and good. You can do that. You have every reason to do that. But you know what? You got to do what you got to do and live the life that you've been called to live. You know, and then go from there. So, I mean, that's all I can do. That's all you can do. You know, and that is it's a good deal. So, I mean, it's, you know, sometimes it's like we need to really hone in on what it is that we are called to do. And there's a lot of people out there that are called to do something. We're all called to do something. And there's a lot of people out there that don't know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't know because they never asked the man that created them. They never asked the Creator what they're supposed to be doing. And they just assume that, well, I think this is it. And they're going based off of their own understanding. Not, like a word says, don't lean not on your own understanding, but trust me in all your ways. Acknowledge me. And I will direct your paths. I will direct your footsteps. That's for somebody. See, a lot of times, it's easy to go through life and think, well, got this job, I got a business, I got this whole career that I'm doing. He comes in there and says, no, you're not going to do that. You're going to start a business. You're going to create something that's going to put more than food on the table and money in your pocket. That's going to be a way of life to where you have money. And not just for yourself, but to be like, you know what? I want to be a liberal, cheerful giver, and not be somebody that's like stingy and, oh, I only got $5, and oh, I'm driving a rust bucket, oh, I'm living here, and instead of doing that, say, you know what? I'm gonna trust God. I'm going to believe God, that God himself has everything that I need. And know that he does. And know that regardless of the situation you're in right now, you may not have everything that you want to have in life. That's okay. See, God, in his perfection, made a way so that we, Joe Christian, Jane Smith, or whatever your name is, right, could come to him and say, you know what, I'm not perfect. I just screwed up 5 minutes ago. Sorry, God, you know. And to say, you know what, when you can acknowledge and know that regardless of where things are at, regardless of your situation, regardless of your past, you have an awesome future. You have an awesome future. See, a lot of times I know that I speak for myself, and I'm sure I speak for others, that don't forget about the future, your best life being in front of you. I see a lot of times I know we forget about that. We forget. We get so locked into our own situation. Or, well, I don't have this. I'm working 50 hours a week and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, or we get lost into a schedule or a routine, and it's like, get out of that for a minute. Think about the possibility of like, hey man, what that's going to look like when you start your own business, what that's going to look like when you got money in your hands, what that's going to look like when you are doing something that's going to, that's a more of a self/positive thing, that you do something that's going to bring a joy to your heart, to your life, to your family's life, and those around you. When you know, it's not about the car that you got, not about the mansion that you got. You know, here's the thing. Here's the truth. Don't ever think that don't ever limit yourself to what you see, to what you've got in your bank account. See, a lot of times people are so limited. They're so close-minded to, well, I only have $5. I only have 100,000, and I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to live in a shack, because they think that's God's will for their life, and that's the best. Like, fine, but here's the thing: God is not opposed. And this is the truth. He's not opposed if you go get a mansion. Is he? No. There's plenty of people that went on this earth. They lived in a shack. They lived in a small ass house, and they get up there and they find, how come so and so's living in a mansion? Like, well, it's because maybe they have better faith, mountain moving faith. They were people that had more there were people, I think, that had a lot more going for them. People that knew that got something, to say, you know what, I know that God himself is calling me, wants me to have something better than I have right now. And if it's his will for you to have something like that, then by golly, go for it. Pursue it. You know? I don't believe it's his will that everybody be driving a beater and living in a shack. But to be a testimony of that he lives, and that, but also to be a big giver too. Not just be, hey, I want to be in that position someday when I can go to a restaurant someday and just bless somebody with a meal, you know, or coffee or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that will speak volumes. And like, what do you do? And then I can show them, hey, I'm a follower of Christ. I do this, I do that. Like, whoa, you know? And that just be such a opportunity, an open door, to where somebody says, you're right. I'm doing this. You know? And create that. Well, and here's the thing, too. There's so much negativity when it comes to, you say you're a Christian. Some people always kind of throw back and say, oh, okay, you know, and there's always that negative stigma that comes with it, because you think that, you know, when you know, if you are truly His, you are called to be an ambassador, a representative of Him. And if you're a representative of Him, to represent Him, you're called to be like Him. And when you're called to be like Him, guess what? You are supposed to try and emulate to the best of your ability. Now, it's not up to you in your own human ability. Your own human ability will not even amount to even a tenth or even a fifth of what He is. But that's where He comes into play and says, let me work through you. Let me change you on the inside out. So that, guess what? So I can be known. So I can be seen and relevant to the world around you, to the people that you know in your sphere, to the people that are in your world, to the people that are in your ward. That's a powerful thing right there. It's a beautiful thing, actually. You know, I heard it said one time, I think it was Carl Lentz or somebody that said one time, you know, you got to view everybody that's in your sphere, that's in your world, like a hospital ward. Like, there are people in your world that are hurting, that are broken, that are lost. And it is up to you to be the light, to be the hope that they need. And then to point them to Him. See, to be the point person, to be the person that says, you know what, that's all good. See, at one of my jobs, people know I'm a believer, but you know, I'm not one of those guys I'm going to preach, you know, that's not who I am. You know, there are people out there that live a life, holy life, live a life that's like none other. You know, yeah, there's probably things that I probably shouldn't laugh at, but I do. You know, but does that make you a bad person? No, not necessarily. You're human. You're operating within the realm of this world and not of a different world. You're operating in a world system versus the kingdom of God. When you're operating in the kingdom of God, you dominate and you rule over anything and everything else. And that's not a matter of, that's just powerful stuff right there, you know. Dominating. You know, you look at some of the, you know, we can look at some of the sports teams out there today, like the Patriots, for example. They're one of the most dominant teams in all of football and probably all of sports right now. They are like the New York Yankees of baseball, you know. They are hated by all. Why? Because of how many championships and how many Super Bowls they've gone to. But you would think after a while that it would become less exciting. But for them, you know, and that's the difference of when you're chasing the fortunes of this world that will always leave you high and dry, that will never fill you up. See, a lot of times people will spend a whole lifetime trying to chase a dollar, trying to chase championships, trying to chase fame and fortune. Fame and fortune that will let you down, that will disappoint you, that will crush you at some point. It may not be right now, but guess what? It's coming. That's the truth. I mean, I'm not lying when I say that, you know. Just ask anybody that's won the lottery and how they were given like $250,000 or $10 million or $20 million, $100 million or whatever, you know? And now they're living in some shack somewhere because they spent it all, gave it away, or, you know, became like the, what do you call it, well, they became like, what is it, the it becomes like the prodigal son. You know how a prodigal son, they, you know, was basically eating the hog, living in a hog pen, eating the hog stuff, and you know, it's like father came out there, put a ring on his finger, put some welcomed him home eventually after running away. I think that's us. That's a lot of us too. You know, we got a taste of something good at one time in our lives, and we went to pursue that, whether it's the job opportunity or the business or whatever, and we got sucked into all that, sucked into this dollars, you know. And then you went away from where you started, from where you came. You know, my main thing is this: never forget where you came from, but remember where you're going. So remember what you started out with, and where you're going to, because those are two different spots. Those are two different places that you're going. And don't forget the people that helped you get there. Don't forget the people that helped you when you were down. Because when you can lift those people up and help those people out, guess what? That all works. That's how it all works. That's right. People that got you to where you are right now, the people that helped you, encouraged you, lifted you up, carried your load, carried your bricks when you didn't have the nuts to carry your own bricks. And that's really what it comes down to. And it's a tough message, you know. But you know, at the end of the day, it's like, you know, that's where it's at. That's what it is, you know. I know I threw a lot of stuff out there, but that's okay. It's okay, you know. I think there's also a thing too, of just being mindful of the influence, the things that influence you, that will control you, that will. I mean, the movie I saw tonight, the Pet Sematary with an S. It's an old movie, but that's the kind of thing that could give you nightmares because of just the stuff that happens in that movie. I mean, it's. Yeah, and there's a reason why you have to guard against what you listen to, what you are putting into your soul, because your eyes are the window to your soul, whether or not you want to believe that or not. They are, and in that, what you let through here is gonna, you know, if you're not careful, it will impact the rest of what's inside here. Your heart, mind, will, emotion, spirit, body, all those things. I mean, just ask some of the people that got carried away with a game or a movie and then went out and just did something crazy, and then there we go. Because they allowed what was fake to become real. And they took it to that level. And it's like, you don't need to take it to that level and just say to yourself, you know, this is not real. This is false evidence appearing real. Fear, right? Don't feed into it. Don't feed into what you see and say, oh, I can do that too. You know, and that's a lot of times what you have. Is people that will take something that is fake, looks real, right? Looks real when it's on the big screen, but it's really not. It's fake. It's not something that is reality. Reality is it's getting up in the morning and going to your job. It's dealing with your kids. It's putting time in a soup kitchen. It's those are real, and spending time with real people who have real problems, who have real things going on, right? Exactly, and that's where, in a lot of ways, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you find God. That's where you find peace, hope to carry on. You know. I think this year for me, I want this year to be more than anything about just encouraging people, just being with people, and just having heart-to-heart conversation. Just say, hey man, how are you doing? I don't care about this little thing over here. Put that aside for a minute. Let's talk about how is everything going for you. How are you doing? Are you feeling okay? Are you doing okay? And not being in such a rush to, I don't know. Man, there are people that I miss connecting with, that I miss spending time with, that for a period of time, man, they were paramount. You know who you are. I will always remember the times that I spent with a guy by the name of Matt Richmond. We volunteered on the same team for a church service, and one awesome guy. Much respect to him for everything that he's going through right now. It's not easy, but I can't be more happy than I am for him for the victories that he's gotten in his fight against cancer. That to me is huge, and it's like everybody else, I'm rooting for him too. And there's others, that have done other things, I love to be able to connect with more people that I once had a connection with before. And it's kind of crazy in a way that the office job I have right now, I was referred there several years ago now by somebody that I went to church with, who worked at the time, he worked at a temp agency and referred me to there. Shortly thereafter, he ended up having to leave that job, but it's kind of crazy in a way. I'm still there to this day, I'll never forget getting a phone call from him. I'm like, what? Who is this guy? I knew who it was. I'm like, after a while, I can remember to this day, like sitting on this here couch and in my basement and getting that phone call. I'm like, what? Here I was looking for a job. It was Christmas break. At the time, I worked at a school. And I remember I had 2 weeks off. And I just wasn't happy with where things were at the school I was at. Just too controlling, just too much going on. I knew I had to make a change. I knew something had to be done. So I'm like, okay, I started looking around for jobs, got interviews lined up, blah, 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 blah. Soon enough, I go fill out the paperwork. Next, I'm working this office job, and I'm like, at the time, I was a little bit intimidated because I had never been in a corporate environment before. I had always worked in schools or retail. At that time, I had never worked in a office type environment where a call center, let alone, to where you're making calls or you're doing something, but you went and did it. Everybody knows me knows that, yeah, you worked there for a long time. It's all about opportunities, that's really what it comes down to, and that. So that's the main crux of this whole thing. I think that's the biggest thing, is holding on to that which is so near and dear. So, I don't know. Kind of winding it down, but I think that's pretty much all I got to say, you know. I want to do more videos, for sure, but we'll just keep plugging away. We'll just keep priming the pump, you know. I know there's going to be times when it's like last night I posted a video at 4 in the morning. You know, I was just kind of frustrated with a situation at work, and sometimes it's easy to get to that point where it's like, man. But here's the thing. This is the year that I'm not going to allow any more drama to get in my way. I'm not going to any drama. I made a decision about 2 weeks ago that I'm not going to feed into any drama. That, you know, whatever happens, happens. I'm not going to feed into that. You know, I'm just going to come in, do my job, see you later, have a nice day. That's it. You know, like sometimes that's, and that's all I can do. And that's all I'm going to do. Because sometimes it's so easy to, oh, what's so-and-so saying? You know, and I'm to the point where I'm like, you know what? They're going to say what they're going to say, whether you're there or not, whether you're here on this earth or not. They're going to talk about you. Who cares? Who gives a flippin' bird what they're going to say about you now? That's the truth. See, a lot of times I think we're so, man, we care too much about our reputation now. Don't get me wrong, reputation is important, but who cares what they're going to say behind your back? Who gives a flippin' bird about that? When you know what your identity is, you know who you are and what you're called to do and what you are and what you're called to do. Like you have an identity. You go from an identity crisis to having an identity. Going from, gee, I don't know who I am, to I know who I am. I know who created me. I know that I got a purpose. I know that I have a destiny, a future, a hope that surpasses all understanding, that surpasses what I know is true in this world. What everything that goes around, it's something that's far, 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 far beyond my comprehension. That is huge. So, I know it's a long video, but hey, man, thanks again for hanging in there. Peace out. Next time.